Hello from ABC News headquarters in New York. I'm Rebecca Jarvis, and we are interrupting our programming to bring you breaking news. A major bridge has collapsed in Baltimore, Maryland. You see it there. Fire officials say people have fallen into the water. The Francis Scott Key Bridge was hit by a container ship overnight. Images show the aftermath of the collapse. Other images being shared online show the massive steel structure and multiple vehicles falling into the Patapsco River. Fire officials say on the vehicles, the water is a big, in the water is a large tractor trailer. And joining us on the phone is ABC's Sam Sweeney. And Sam, what do you know right now?
Rebecca, we know that this happened about 1:30 this morning when that boat, for some unknown reason, collided with one of the columns on that bridge. Now, we see in the live stream lights flicker on the boat as it approaches. In the moments before impact, there are a number of cars and trucks going over, but just seconds before that impact, it appears that the traffic stopped. Now, we know that there were workers on that bridge, and Baltimore County fire officials tell us that they believe at least 7 people were thrown into the water when that bridge collapsed, and they are searching for them. They are using night vision, helicopters, divers are in the water. Keep in mind, it is dark out. The water is roughly 47 degrees, which means hypothermia can set in about an hour or so. So time is of the essence here, but we are not expecting daylight for at least another hour. This is the 695 bridge that goes over the Baltimore Harbor. There is a lot of boat traffic here. More than 11 million cars use this bridge every single year. It is also the designated hazmat bridge. There's a number of tunnels that go underneath the Baltimore Harbor, but the hazmat trucks have to use this bridge. So this is a crucial bridge in connectivity in this area. It was built in 1977. It's roughly 2 miles long, and most of the bridge collapsed. Part of the bridge also collapsed on top of that shipping container that's more than 900 feet long. Thousands of containers are on that ship. It was pulling out of the port. It was headed to, we believe, Colombo, Sri Lanka, according to marine traffic shipping apps. But we don't know exactly what caused the ship to hit this bridge.
Thank you, Sam. We appreciate that. And we know this bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, was also named after the author of the Star-Spangled Banner. I'm here with Gio Benitez, who is our transportation correspondent, and this happened around 1:35 a.m. this morning. The FBI, we know, is on the scene, according to Pierre Thomas. Can you tell us what you think might have happened here based on what you're seeing in these images?
Well, Sam was talking about those flickering lights on the ship, and when you look at this video right before impact, it seems like all the lights just completely shut off. So obviously they're going to be looking very closely at whether there was some sort of power failure, whether this ship lost control. We don't know a lot right now. We don't have that confirmed, of course, but when you see that in the video where this ship just appears to lose power, that's going to be a central part to this investigation. You said 1:30 a.m. Thank goodness that this was at 1:30 in the morning, because had it happened during the day, we're talking about a major casualty event. At this point, we still don't know how many people are in the water right now, because we do have reports of people in the water. But had this happened during the day, we're talking about a bridge that in 2023 carried more than 12 million cars. So this is a very popular bridge. This is a very popular waterway as well. This actually is a waterway that allows ships with hazardous materials to go by. That's how huge this waterway is and how important it is to the Baltimore area.
And our Pierre Thomas is also reporting, with the FBI on the scene, there are no indications at this point of terror, but the FBI is going to be doing background checks on everybody aboard that ship. The ship is a cargo ship. It is a Singaporean cargo ship. Tell us anything that you could tell us about what a ship like that, the capacity a ship like that would have.
Well, we're talking about an absolutely massive ship at this point. And one of the things they're going to be looking at, if there was a power failure, how is this ship controlled? And there's so much we just don't know at this point about that ship. But we're talking about something that has so much mass. When you look at the video, it almost appears like it's slowly approaching. But that tells you how big it is, because when it made impact with that structural part of the bridge, That's what caused this collapse. So we're talking about something that's major. We're looking also at the history of the bridge itself. I looked at the poor bridges list. It does not appear to be on that list in Maryland, so that's good news. But this was obviously undergoing repair because we were talking about those construction workers, and those construction workers were there overnight since the beginning of the year for a construction project that was lasting all the way through the summer or fall of 2025. So there were major repairs that were underway.
And this is a current picture of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed after being hit by a cargo ship around 1:35 a.m. Eastern Time. The FBI is on the scene there conducting investigations. Gio Benitez, thank you so much for joining us. Sam Sweeney, thank you as well. And we're going to continue to follow this story. But right now we head back to our regular programming.
A mass casualty situation in Baltimore after the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapses. This is overnight video of the moment a container ship strikes a support column, causing that bridge to fall in the Patapsco River around 1:30 this morning.
And take a look at this map. This shows exactly where the bridge is located, where it collapsed into the river, and you can see just how long this span stretches. It is expansive.
At this point, the focus is on recovering any possible victims who may be in the water right now.
CBS News Philadelphia's Waukesha Bailey live at the staging area on the ground in Baltimore. Waukesha, tell us what you can see and what you know from your vantage point.
Yeah, good morning, Janelle. Jim, a massive presence here of officials trying to figure out exactly what happened. Now, we are still waiting to hear from authorities as to what the final numbers are, but so far we do know that they are right now looking for 20 people, and that number has jumped significantly since 7. I'm going to step out of the way because we are at the staging area, but you can get a glimpse of what's left of this bridge. As you can see where the bridge collapsed, and the road is just practically split in half, and once again, you just cannot get over just how many people they're looking for right now. That number we're told right now is 20 people. Let's play that video again, showing the moment a large container ship crashes into part of Baltimore's Francis Key Bridge and ultimately catching fire. Now, as the bridge collapsed, we are told cars went flying into the Patapsco River. Now, Baltimore City Fire Department says this all began around 1:30 a.m. when they started receiving calls of people frantic, saying that a vessel hit a bridge column. Now, it's still unclear how many cars were on the bridge, but we do know a large tractor trailer was on it. And officials say at this time, they say once again, at least 20 people are in the river, including people who work on the bridge. And all lanes in both directions along I-695 on the bridge are closed at this time. And we are expected to hear from authorities throughout the day, but you can only imagine what the people in this area are going through right now, especially if you do travel this area or along this bridge at this hour. Now, you're seeing how devastating a lot of this video is at this time at 5:30 in the morning when it's still dark. So only imagine what this scene is going to look like once it is light out. Now, we're going to remain out here and hopefully hear from authorities within the next couple of hours as to what they are doing right now. But many of them are saying that their primary focus right now is recover and to rescue these people. Sending it back to you.
And that rescue, I mean, the time frame, I mean, it's 30 degrees outside, 39 degrees here right now. I mean, that water must be frigid at this point.
And in addition to that,
well,
go ahead, Waukesha.
Yeah, I was just going to say that is some of the biggest concerns with a lot of people that we're just seeing here pass by. They're all saying, wow, to actually have your car flying off the bridge, landing in this water, the speed, and from where the level of as high as the bridge is and from the distance to the water, along with, once again, it's 50 degrees out here, so who knows how cold it is in that water.
Right, obviously hypothermia, a real concern at this point. Also, they're dealing with the darkness. Crews, they have dive crews out there, but it is dark. You can only imagine that is making this rescue operation that much more difficult, Waukesha.
Oh, absolutely. And hopefully we're going to hear from some of the people that are leading that rescue within the next couple of hours. But they're advising a lot of people that if you are in this area to definitely stay away, because right now officials, they need to do their job.
Yeah, and to recap, this happened around 1:30 this morning. This cargo ship crashing right into the pylon of that bridge, causing that mid-span of the structure to come down within just about seconds. We're told about 20 seconds it took for that entire middle span of the bridge to collapse. Waukesha Bailey on the scene there live for us.
Collapse in the eastern U.S. city of Baltimore. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed Tuesday after being struck by a cargo ship overnight. Several vehicles were sent plunging into the river below. Now, 2 people have been rescued so far, but at least 7 are still in the water after several vehicles fell in. France 24's Fraser Jackson is on site at that bridge collapse. He joins me now live from there. Fraser, what's the latest on this bridge collapse?
So, Jeannie, I've moved position since you last saw me. We can now get a much better view of the bridge. If I step out of frame, you can see what the authorities are looking at here. It is a very devastating scene. You can see there the ship in the middle with that metal structure, mangled metal, sunken into the river, laying all around it. What we know is that at 1:30 local time, this ship that we see here, which is a Singaporean flag container ship, the Dolly, hit this bridge, the Francis Scott Key Bridge, one of the vital arteries on the eastern side of Baltimore, a bridge that transports over 11.5 million people every single year. And there were some people on that bridge at the time of the collapse. Now, those numbers have ranged from 7 to 20, but we know that at least 2 people have been pulled out of the water in what the authorities are calling a mass casualty event. We've seen many different agencies involved here, including local FBI and also the Coast Guard as well. So it is, you get a better view here of how difficult the job that they face is. The water very choppy and also very cold. It's about 10 degrees Celsius, which means that anybody inside that water can normally only last for about an hour to 3 hours, and we are now approaching well over 7 hours since that has taken place. Now, we are hearing now from ABC News citing intelligence reports as to why this might have happened. ABC is saying that the vessel notified the MD Department of Transportation that they had lost control of the vessel and a collision with the bridge was possible. We then now know that that bridge then obviously hit the bridge at around 1:30. That seemingly backing up reports that we heard from the fire chief and the police chief here in Baltimore that said there was no terror motive. That was something that people were worried about in the early stages of the investigation. That has been ruled out also by the White House. Joe Biden is being kept a brief of this situation, and the White House saying that there was no nefarious intent, seemingly. But the search is continuing for those people still who could be in the water. We know that the Coast Guard have got underwater UAVs as well as sonar vehicles. They have found various cars inside the water, and they are continuing that search, trying to rescue anybody that may still be inside those vehicles.
Fraser, tell us a bit more about this bridge itself. I mean, it's 8 a.m. there now. People are getting up, getting ready to go to work. What kind of effect is this tragedy going to be having on the millions of people who live in the Baltimore area?
Well, people are obviously waking up to this horrific scene. We've spoken to numerous people, both near the scene and in this community that we're now in, who say that this bridge was one of the vital links for them. I was talking to one woman at a petrol station just down the road who said that her daughter was meant to be on that bridge around the time that it actually happened, but by some sheer fluke that she didn't actually end up being on that bridge at the time. So it really is something that is striking at the heart of the community here. We spoke to one man who said that he heard what sounded like an earthquake and thunder in the middle of the night, and it wasn't until he came down and saw all the flashing lights in the middle of the night that he found out what it was. So it really is a vital artery link for the people of Baltimore. Like I said, 11.5 million people cross this bridge every year, but also the water itself is extremely important. This is one of the most busy ports in the United States, especially on the eastern seaboard, and a lot of ships come up the Chesapeake Bay into Baltimore, and that now obviously not possible. There are now at least 10 ships which have had to drop anchor off outside of Baltimore because that waterway is now blocked by the remains of that bridge. We don't know how long it will take to clear this up. The mayor of Baltimore said that is a question that is best left to later, and that they need to focus now on trying to save as many lives as they can in that search and rescue mission. But it is likely to be a long time before that bridge is extracted from the water, and especially until it's built again. And until then, lots of disruption, both commercially and also in the lives of the people who live here in Baltimore.